Okay, so essentially, celebrities are priest gods. I have a 5 minute video on YouTube about it. I'm just starting out publicly because I've always been shy about doing this publicly. Um, so I have a 5 minute video on that, and then combining that with there's a lot of generational strife and financial strife related to different socioeconomic classes, especially within the United States specifically. And the interpersonal drama that we go through is just wounding that we can learn from, but as we live it, we're experiencing it as the observer, so we encounter it as pain. So that's a general thing. The elite class is obviously a created socioeconomic class, and everyone being equal as souls in themselves. No one is better than anyone else. However, we have the predisposition culturally to assume that those who are rich worked for it, and or those who are rich did not work for it. And so we have this rift that is largely described in generations. So my proposition is this, that the elites in the top 1% are fallen masters. They are people who came in, took on a lot of karma and social responsibility, and have not found their way out of the dark yet. They clearly can manage a lot of energy, which is why they have a lot of money, but there's a lot of discord there. So one good example is Dionysus. So he was I think, third generation down from the Rhea and Kronos generation in the classical Greek pantheon, and he's the son of Semele and Zeus, but originally Persephone's child. So she probably unwillingly had a child with a creature who there's various descriptions, and I'm doing more research on this. And when Zeus found out about it, he was angry and he destroyed the child. And then from that, from those remains, he gave part of that body to his consort, Semele, and she consumed that and later gave birth to Dionysus. He is essentially the American dream. As a myth, he kind of worked his way into the pantheon of gods. So anyway, as an example, so we like to think of classical myths as far away in time, and maybe people weren't as advanced, but now we know better and we're not polytheistic. Yes, we are. So that's the whole point of this. So for instance, we believe in sports teams. We believe in public figures and celebrities. We, are in support of them, and these are very real archetypes that are still alive today. And our concept of what a god is has changed with our culture, but this is still a very human thing that we do. So I was going to say Las Vegas as a cult center. Cult usually takes on the meaning of, suicide cults and very extreme situations. Anthropologically, what a cult is a ritual practice with a group of people, generally on a regular basis. It's a ceremony and a practice that has some meaning for the people. And generally, cults mean to cultivate or bring forth a specific desired outcome. So anything as simple as a group prayer or group meditation can be anthropologically classified as a cult practice. But Las Vegas is a cult center because it is a city that is a destination with a theme. It's one of the more prominent ones in America. And honestly, a really great marketing move to have a giant tourist attraction in the middle of nowhere. But essentially, it's, the city of sin. It's a destination wedding location. And what I find very interesting is it is, to this day, as far as I can tell, Elvis's large cult following. So I think he's from Mississippi or something, and I'm sure in his hometown there's, still a tradition about Elvis came from here, just like Land of Lincoln for Illinois, but that is largely Elvis's national cult center is Las Vegas, because there are a lot of marriages that happen there, and a lot of them are Elvis themed. And for some reason, there's a Venn diagram of cultural overlap, and I have not really figured out why, but I would suggest that it is a Dionysus theme of revelry and maybe drunkenness and partying, but also marriage and celebration and holiness and ceremony. So I think that's it. And I'm also going to read some of the things that I've written. Elites can be alone, can be a family, can be an organization. These groups have incarnated here in higher light times, chosen to take a hard fall into a very deep sleep. And those who are in power right now are trying to figure things out with the space age revolution and are the people who haven't made it out yet. They are the people for whom the idea of starseeds, Martians, Anunnaki, Atlantis, galactic age, etc. sound appealing, because they see themselves as these people. So we see a lot of the starseed movement with people my age and a few generations before, and that's generally the, I'd say a more common socioeconomic manifestation of that, where elites are going to see themselves as, being responsible for space travel and developing, hyper-technological advances in culture. Fallen gods are the people who incarnate in lines reinforcing each other's power and genetics, which they seem to think are the same thing, which I think is the basis of racism, or one aspect, and they are the ones who fell. And it should also be noted that racism is a dumbed-down, categorical, backwards version of the eugenics they think makes them better. Obviously, that's basically nonsense. I have to switch to my